Like Sam grew up a geek, right, Sam?
Yeah, basically, I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, and I mean, obviously, video games, but
You're way into Naruto.
yeah.
Like that's not a jock thing.
No.
Also, Sam, there's a ramen place by my house called Naruto Ramen,
What?
and yes, yeah, you got to go one of these days.
Naruto.
Coming at you from Southern California, this is the Keeg. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and today, once again, we got some weekly geek news for you. But I may be captain of the ship, but I need some crew members. Is that what it is on ships? Like
Yeah.
crew?
Crew?
Like a crew? Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, that works on land, too. I got my crew right here.
What?
Yep. I don't know why I yep my own thing.
You got to be excited about your own product, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
First up, we got Lisa Bryan.
That's
Lisa.
me. Hi. Hi. I'm on the show.
She is. How you doing today?
I'm good. I actually slept last night, so it's
There
nice.
we go. It's always good to sleep, I feel. You know? I feel it's almost like as if we need to sleep
Psh,
to function.
overrated.
No.
You don't need it.
I read a creepypasta that made it pretty clear that like things would be awesome if we stopped sleeping.
Who's that? Who's talking right now? I can't see. It's dark in here. Who's that?
Let me just turn on the light.
It's Hero Carlisle.
I've been here the whole time.
That's weird because I dressed in here earlier.
I know. You can find the pictures on our Twitter.
Night vision goggles, my worst enemy. Thanks for coming on the show, guys. Just to kick off, just with a really quick question, because July 4th is coming up. Who is the most patriotic superhero? Whoever wants to go first can go.
Well, I mean, like, let's just get these off of the table. No Captain America.
Okay.
No Captain Britain.
Oh, what?
None of
Come on, you got to give love to Excalibur, man.
Nope,
Come on.
Nope. None of the Alpha Flight.
Oh, God damn
You're
it, that's
taking
my
the-
whole team.
You're
No.
taking out
Son
all
of
of
a-
them?
I'm taking up anyone who is like I'll even take off Red Skull.
You
off
leave
the list.
Sasquatch out of this, dude.
Anybody who's
Swear to God.
No, I just mean the one who looks like the Canadian flag.
The Vindicator.
Indicator, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If your costume consists of the pattern of a flag, immediately disqualified. Let's make this a real challenge. Most patriotic,
Take that, Sunspot.
Yeah,
Wait,
take-
what's his face? What the Japanese one?
Sunfire.
Sunfire.
Yeah.
Take
no,
that,
no
Sunfire.
Sunfire.
That's true.
Yeah.
Mm.
No Union Jack. None of this.
Ooh.
See, now you're just
Yeah.
now you're cutting me deep.
I'm sorry. I know you, Lisa. I want this to be a real challenge. Like here is my most patriotic superhero, the Punisher.
That's your choice?
Vietnam vet.
He was briefly Captain America, lest we forget.
He was briefly Captain America.
So
He bleeds red, white, and blue. He loves this country.
he did fight for it.
He fights. He
continues to
keep
fight
it
for it.
safe in his own psychotic, monstrous way. And what better represents America as a nation than a white, middle-aged lunatic with a gun taking the law into his own hands?
Ooh, that's some commentary right there.
Yeah, he got deep.
You're
That got-
welcome.
That got real deep.
I disagree
Oh, do
with
tell.
that. Well, just about the Punisher, I've yet to say who I think the superhero is, but Punisher, he goes all around the world and he kills like African warlords and stuff.
Yeah,
and he
again,
never like
what's
says
more
it's for
American than
America.
that?
I don't know. The only time I really see him ever being patriotic is his admiration of Captain America. And I think that, but that comes from the fact that when he was in Vietnam, like, it was such a different war than World War II was. And Captain America was World War II, and he was Vietnam. So there's that link there, but
They're products of the wars they were in.
yeah, definitely. Lisa, do you have a pick?
Well, I got kicked a little bit
Okay.
because I was going to just do the entirety of Alpha Flight.
Talk about Alpha Flight then.
I love Alpha Flight, dude. I think, like, Canada doesn't get enough love.
No, they get a ton of love in comics.
And, that's
No,
true.
They get
I mean, they have Wolverine.
Comedy and
They have
comics.
Deadpool. People forget Deadpool's Canadian.
People forget Wolverine's Canadian.
That's weird. Well, the animated series just made him Australian.
The Pride of the X-Men
The
one.
Pride of the X-Men made him. Yeah.
Not the 92 one.
I would say, yeah. I mean, Alpha Flight like represents the best of Canada, which is like I think the best of humanity.
And they constantly die.
I know, but Sasquatch doesn't. And Puck, you got a freaking acrobatic dwarf.
Puck died. I think they grabbed him back from hell. I think when X-Force went to hell recently, not recently, like 4 years ago, they took Puck back from hell and he joined X-Force.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
But I also think like they had North Star, who was like the first openly gay superhero.
Yeah.
Well, it's just totally awesome.
That's fitting of Canada.
Yeah,
You know.
to like take the first steps into being more accepting
Yeah.
towards humanity.
Yeah.
And like embracing all different types of people.
Yeah.
You know, the height inclined, like the hairy inclined was Sasquatch. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Everybody used to shave their bodies before Sasquatch came around.
Right, and then
told
now-
them, you know.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, we also forget maybe Superman. You didn't
For what?
for Patriotic.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Even though he's not American, yet he fights for the most American ideals, which is the immigrant dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does literally fight for truth, justice,
It's the American way, but he's not American. I mean, that argument of who
And
is
he's-
American
Yeah.
because he was raised here by Americans.
It doesn't get much more American than like corn-fed
Kansas boy
stock.
who's powered by the sun.
Who's powered by the sun. His color scheme is practically the flag.
Yeah, you didn't eliminate Superman,
No,
so
because I specifically wanted like superheroes whose costume literally was the flag. Like
Yeah.
Captain America, you can't look at him and go, "Oh, he's just wearing a flag." I would also throw out Doctor Doom.
he's the most patriotic to himself of anybody ever.
Not even Latveria, if that's what you were going for.
He's patriotic towards himself.
Yeah.
He named a country after himself. His country's named after himself.
No.
His castle's named after himself.
Hey, he
Well, the
still,
capital city, right? Doomstat?
Doomstat,
Yeah.
the castle
he does
Doomstat.
he does try to make Latveria better.
He does.
But only if they worship him.
The money has his name on it.
He's a villain, but
The
he's
holidays.
probably the most patriotic villain.
Ooh, that's a...
Red Skull, but
No, Red Skull really only cares about himself.
That's
yeah,
true.
like
He doesn't even
tried
care
to
about the
kill
Nazi.
Hitler. Yeah, he
Yeah,
tried to kill Hitler like
that's
a bunch
true.
of times.
yeah, I would say Doom's the most patriotic if you're going with like progressing a country.
Well, I mean, like if you forget about all of the Russian villains, like Crimson Dynamo and
Omega Red.
and the Russian Zod, and like all of the Russian villains from like the 70s and 80s, like KG Beast. But
Or the Chinese super teams.
yes,
DC had the Great 10, and Marvel has... who does Marvel have from Chinese super teams? Anyway, the point being is...
they don't really have. I mean, the Mandarin and Yellow Claw seem to be about it as far as.
Yeah.
But
If you're out there and you can think of a Chinese super team from Marvel, hashtag the Keeg and let us know.
well, I remember Ultimate had a Chinese Abomination. or
Oh,
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that. Yeah, that was about it.
Yeah.
Didn't they have wasn't there a Chinese super soldier? No, that was the Russian super soldier in Ultimate.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And now there's a Chinese Superman in DC. But what's interesting about the patriotic supervillain was there was a line of comics that crossed over DC and Marvel back in the 90s or 80s that was like they were always in the same universe. There's a universe
Weird.
out there where DC and Marvel are in the same universe and never like we're different. There is like they never talk about how anyone came over any dimensional portals or anything, and you know. But there was a comic where Batman and Robin, it took place in the 40s, I think. Met Captain America, and Joker teamed up with Red Skull, but Joker turned on Red Skull and
Naturally.
he says, "I may be insane, but I'm a full-blooded American."
That's right. I know exactly.
The Joker said that, and he like turned on Red Skull.
Yeah. He says
Even the
something-
Joker hates Nazis, dude.
Yeah, he's like, I may be crazy, but I'd never work with a Nazi. I'm an American. And then he like kicks Red Skull off of a plane or a blimp or something.
Yeah, like a Zeppelin. Which, I mean, in modern day interpretations of Joker doesn't care if you're a Nazi or not. He's just Joker.
He's
He
just
doesn't
about
have
chaos.
he doesn't have allegiance to America.
Well, I mean, there's the theory that Christopher Nolan's Joker is actually a disabled, injured veteran.
Yeah.
And so I would imagine that one has his own warped patriotism, and so probably wouldn't like Nazis.
Or jaded, like if he's jaded against the government, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know the answer to my own damn question. Patriotic superhero. I'm going to throw out Green Arrow. Like, not throw out, but like throw him into the ring.
No, he's great. He's a great
Just
one.
because, I mean, it sounds like a joke, and it kind of is. He's so super liberal, right? But the point being is that he believes that we can be better, right? And he constantly works that, and he works both angles. He's giving to charity as Oliver Queen, and he's on the streets fighting as Green Arrow, and he's not anti-government, but he believes the government can be better and serve its people better, right? Which I think is a lot of liberals in general. Liberals don't hate the government. The liberals want the government to be better,
Oh yeah.
right?
well, yeah.
Like, there's no anarchy here. Green Arrow's not an anarchist.
Right.
And so my pick, I guess, would be Green Arrow.
Yeah,
Just for the sake of, how far he goes.
That's a great pick. I really like it.
Yeah, he backs up his beliefs in his persona.
Yeah, definitely. Because, I mean, we can always we could argue till the ends of the earth whether Bruce Wayne is a Democrat or a Republican, a liberal or a conservative. We don't know. But Green Arrow is unabashedly left-leaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's our little July 4th question.
/ Happy Canada Day.
Oh, yeah. Also, Canada Day was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
July 2nd?
First.
First?
Today's
What
the
day's-
second.
What's
Today's the 2nd. Yeah. So, July 1st. Huh. Happy Canada Day to you Canadians out there listening in.
Yeah, you dirty Canucks.
no.
So, here's a little bit more news for you guys, whether you're in Canada or America or, even down south in Mexico. Here's some information for you. Breaking news. Well, it's not actually breaking news. People have been talking about it for like a week now. The Han Solo movie has been going through some ups and downs, right? We talked about it last time where the movie lost Lord and Miller, and it got Ron Howard to finish it off. But the main actor now has an acting coach. Like Lucasfilms or whatever have gotten, what's his name, Hero?
His name is Alden Ehrenreich.
Aldridge Markin.
Yeah.
No.
Close enough.
Yeah. His name
Not
is
Harrison Ford.
Alden Ehrenreich. That is a
That is a
German
mouthful.
name.
Yeah, and they got him an acting coach. Like, he isn't good enough. They have this multi-million-dollar movie hinging on his success, and they feel they haven't cast him well
okay.
enough.
So after last week, I actually looked all of this up, and I searched multiple sources, listened to multiple podcasts, and watched a ton of videos on it. Read, what the Variety had to say, the Hollywood Reporter had to say. I'm going like back channels. I'm like trying to figure out everything that happened. And something about last week, we were kind of right. Lord and Miller were trying to make the Han Solo film a meta comedy about how stupid it is that they would ever make a Han Solo film. What they were doing is they would do a single take of the scripted material, then they would encourage the cast to do improvised takes. Now, on the cast, you have Woody Harrelson, who started out as a comedian. You have Donald Glover, who is a extremely talented comedian, and you have Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who's a fantastic comedian, and you should all see her show Fleabag. It's great on Amazon. So you have really talented comedic energy, and then you have Alden. And Alden was actually the guy who called up Kennedy and Kazan, the creative and the producer of the Star Wars series, and said, I don't know what's going on. And this is a direct quote from Alden. He said, "They're turning my Han Solo into Ace Ventura." So then what apparently is being reported as happening is Phil and Miller were going to secretly edit a film together that was a meta comedy, because that's what they're kind of known for. 21 Jump Street, meta comedy about the idea of rebooting stuff from the 80s. Lego Movie, meta comedy about merchandising as art. So they were taking the opportunity to kind of lampoon the whole idea of a Star Wars origin story for Han Solo. And what they were doing is they would send the dailies, which is the footage you shoot for that day, to the producer of the scripted stuff. But they had no intention of keeping the scripted stuff. When they got their final edit, their director's edit, it was going to be exclusively the improvised comedic content. So Alden was the one who came in and said, "This is wrong. This is not what I was brought on to do." And so when they let Lord and Miller go and they replaced them with Ron Howard, Alden apparently was having a lot of difficulty getting back into character. There was obviously a lot of animosity amongst the cast, kind of directed at Alden for kind of ruining everyone's fun. And he had been doing a lampooned version of Han Solo for so long that it was really challenging for him to get back to the core of the character. So they brought in an acting coach who is his actual acting coach, who helped him originally develop the Han Solo character to get him back on track. But with our headline culture, it's like Han Solo needs acting coach. It's kind of an oversimplification. But it is fascinating.
That sounds complicated, to say the least, right? Like,
Yeah.
it sounds way too complicated for a multi-million-dollar movie to be having all these ups and downs.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think that, but then you're looking at the Fantastic Four fan who's this is just I'm living it all over again. It's great.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Super Mario Brothers movie. Like, have you ever heard the story about that?
Like, which story?
Why it's so weird.
No.
The original directors of the film was a husband and wife, and they were cast, or they were hired, and they had it in their head that what they were going to do secretly, without telling anyone in the production, is they were going to do a hard R,
I have heard that, yeah.
hard-boiled noir story about what it was like to live inside a video game. So basically Wreck-It Ralph if Quentin Tarantino did it.
Okay.
Then the producers found out about it. I think it was Bob Hoskins who was just complaining about how like ridiculous this whole thing was. So they found out about it. The producers fired the directors, but they'd already built all of the practical sets, and this is like the early 90s, and so they've invested far too much money into it. So they just said, okay, we have all these sets, let's go back to the original script and try and make these two concepts work. So that's why all of the cost, like nothing makes sense, because they were so behind schedule. And it sounds like that's what happened with this one, which really gives me a kind of a negative opinion of Lord and Miller as creatives, because it's like, if you're hired to do a job, don't take it upon yourself to say, fuck you, I'm going to do a different job. Like that's not a good way to do it. Like, even though I have said very, very vocally on here that the idea of a Han Solo movie is stupid.
Yeah. Out of all the characters, do we need an origin story for Han Solo?
No.
Do you have any, Lisa?
It's funny. I've been struggling to accept a Han Solo movie, because that's the thing is, if you know me at all, I'm not a Star Wars fan. I'm a Han Solo fan.
Interesting.
Like,
okay.
Like that's if you get me just a generic Star Wars gift, I'll be like, oh, you don't really know me. But if you get me like a Han Solo thing, I'll be like, hey, cool, thanks. Like you're actually my friend and know me. And it was only about a couple weeks ago when I was finally like, okay, you know what? I'm okay with a Han Solo movie. And then everything drops, and I go, this is what I get for accepting everything as it was.
Why can't you like more things that I don't like, Lisa? Because everything that you like gets shut down.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's my lot in life.
Yeah,
apparently.
you couldn't have been a Twilight fan. You couldn't have.
I mean, like, I disagree. Like, with the Han Solo film, I mean, the writer is Kazan, who rewrote Empire Strikes Back. So going back to his script, probably a good idea. Ron Howard was George Lucas's protege. He's
Yeah.
as talented as George Lucas without any of George's problems.
Yeah.
And the fact that the star was like, this is not paying proper homage to the original.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
that's hopeful.
Like it's one of those rare examples where a producer or a studio stepped in and actually fixed a ship instead of torpedoing it. So I don't know. I'm optimistic now. I still think it's stupid, but
It's
I'm
the
optimistic.
concept. Like, I'm finally like, I was like, okay, I get it. I want to see this. Like, when they first announced it was happening, I was like, yeah, don't, but okay, sure, I'm in. Now that he's dead in the original series, well, where else am I gonna get Han Solo material?
Ooh, spoiler alert.
Oops.
To any of you guys out there who
Trapped in
haven't seen-
2015.
Yeah.
Like, oops. Sorry. Did you just wake up from your nap?
Prepare to be disappointed by the new Star Wars movie.
Hero so harsh. I liked Force Awakens, but
I did too when it was called New Hope.
okay, I like it better than New Hope, honestly. But that's me.
That's-
A New Hope is always been kind of overrated to me. I understand the influence that it had in history and how it started, and I get that and I appreciate that.
yeah.
But as far as a story is concerned, I'm not a big fan of New Hope.
No, I somewhat agree with that. Like, if New Hope came out right now, would it be an influential film?
Probably not. I
No.
mean, because it
Well,
was revolutionary
no.
at the time.
Right
Yeah.
now couldn't have happened without New Hope, though. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
Messing with the timeline, man. Can't do that, man.
Yeah.
I'm the Reverse Flash.
Dude. Talk about tangents. I could go on reverse Flash tangent for.
Oh.
Barry Allen had a best friend growing up, and Reverse Flash came and killed him, and that's why we know Barry Allen to not have a best friend in the past. Like, he grew up alone. How crazy is that? That he killed a little kid that was like the original Barry Allen had a best friend.
Well, isn't the Reverse Flash's origin story like he loved the Flash?
Yeah.
And then like he went back in time and realized he was going to be the Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
And that he was so angry about that.
Yeah.
God,
Well,
Reverse Flash is dumb.
No, but I mean, it's the idolization. It's the whole idolization thing, and the fact that he was so obsessed, right? So it's not that like, oh, he's a good pick character, and then he like turned. Anyway, we're gonna get on a tangent there. I don't want to get on a tangent. We need to talk about hopefully what is the final update, which is what's going on with Sony and Marvel. So we've talked about it for the last couple weeks, and we've been hearing they've been flip-flopping. Thus, we've been flip-flopping because we're reporting the news here. But the final update is, as far as I have read, that they have said that, the wording is so weird, that the Venom and Spider-Man spin-off movies will be in the same reality as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but a different universe. And I think that it's the same reality, different
two
universe.
words that mean the same thing.
Yes and yes is definitely. They're not thinking about the reality of us. So, for example, they're saying that it's going to follow essentially what Netflix shows have been doing, where Netflix does not cross over with the movies, but they refer to events.
Right, like the event. Or,
Yeah, the incident, right?
or the incident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're saying that the Venom movie can refer to those type of things, but they will never cross over with characters or whatnot.
They say now.
They say now. But the point being is that, first thing, they got the wording all fucked up because they need to get their wording down straight. That's the same universe.
Yeah, that's the same universe.
It's just a different like medium, so they can't cross over. Like Netflix is TV and Marvel Cinematic Universe is the movies, but they do exist within the same.
Yeah, they do exist within the same. They reference each other all the time, and they are planning on having a crossover.
They don't reference who in the movies. Do they reference Netflix?
No, that's
No, they never
true.
do. They've
never
never
But they
referenced.
will, because Kevin Feige did say he's going to have a crossover. It's just not going to be Avengers 4, which frankly I'm okay with.
Yeah.
But they are eventually, because that's what we want, and why wouldn't you do that?
Because Netflix doesn't bring in as much money as the movies, and people don't care as much.
It's more niche for people like us, honestly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do they
and
need
people
to?
who like to binge watch Netflix shows.
Yeah. So do they need to bring in Luke Cage and everything? Like, do they?
Well, yeah, it serves a very great function of cameo, because then you don't have to have a Punisher film, a Daredevil film, a Ghost Rider film, an
Yeah.
Inhumans film. You could just cameo them in stuff when you need to. You don't have to give them their own film to explain it, because you already did on a much smaller platform. it makes business sense.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, Ghost Rider was on the recent season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I don't think I need another, a show of his own. Everybody always does that. Like, when people cameo and then people are like, oh, they should get their own show. It's like, no. I think Ghost Rider was amazing on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but do I need more of him?
No.
No, I
But
think...
Ghost Rider's a cameo character at best. Like, he doesn't have a lot of stories. He fights the devil,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much
There's
it.
Blackheart.
Rides a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Has a chain whip.
Zarathos, chain whip,
Yeah,
penance stare.
there's not a lot of stuff. I mean, unless you paired him with others, even Punisher isn't like conceptually all that great for a TV series.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it could be a fun
Kill him.
kill them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
one
like
man
John
versus the
Wick.
mob
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
series.
You get like a John.
I think
Wick
he
kinda
needed
thing.
his own show based off of the Daredevil season
Yeah.
Yeah,
because they only gave you a hint of what he's capable of, but
yeah,
not.
I'm calling it
Yeah.
now. He's gonna be the first one to start cameoing and stuff. In
Yeah,
the
I mean, he
films.
could
it's
easily-
gonna be Punisher.
You think?
It's gonna be Punisher and then Daredevil.
I think it's going to be the lawyers in the Netflix universe or the Netflix shows. Like, it's not even going to be the main characters. I think
just
they're-
Rosario
Jake
Dawson.
Foggy. No, it's going to be what's her name?
No.
It's
I'm
gonna be-
calling it now. Hashtag Rosario Dawson is Coulson. She is not making it out of Defenders alive.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. She is not.
Yeah. Okay, I agree because she's not going to be in Punisher also. No, I'm saying Carrie Ann Moss. I think that she's going to...
Oh, okay.
Like,
okay.
They're more likely
Okay.
to bring Carrie Ann Moss into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Because that would be an easy.
That's easy.
It's an easy plug.
Well,
Yeah.
no,
Easy
I mean
plug in,
the guy who plays Punisher is a character actor in film. Like he was just he's
Yeah.
just been cast in. He was in
Well,
Baby Driver.
Yeah, but it's relatively new. Carrie Ann Moss is like 20 plus
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, she was in the goddamn Matrix.
She was in, I want to say that The Sandlot, but I don't think it was she played a mother in one of those old kid movies, which is weird.
she's been around for a long
She
time.
Yeah.
has been around for a long time.
Yeah. So the point being is that I don't know what they're getting up to, but I guess that's the final update is that basically they're saying they're going to treat it like the Netflix shows where they can mention that there was an attack on New York, but they're not going to cross people into Venom.
Yeah, I mean, all of this is code and lingo and trying to confuse us. Basically, we still haven't figured out exactly what we're going to do, because they're just with Spider-Man: Homecoming alone, the sheer number of characters that are now part of the cinematic universe that are Spider-Man exclusive characters, it's going to get muddy super quick. And I think what it is they're just both having a pissing contest, probably over how much of distribution rights they get, who gets merchandising
Who
rights.
gets Tom Holland?
Yeah, no, I seriously don't think it has anything to do with the creative side.
Really?
I'm almost 100% sure
Business.
it is exclusively merchandising because that's what Disney has. Disney has merchandising.
Ooh.
Sony has distribution. So Sony gets the big paycheck right off the bat, the 300 million. But Disney gets all of the toys, all of the shirts, all of the stickers, potentially billions of dollars worth of money. And I'm sure Sony wants a tiny little bit of that.
Yeah. Well, no one does merchandising quite like Disney. Even for Force Awakens, that was the most merchandising I've seen for a Star Wars movie ever.
Of any movie ever
Yeah.
that I've ever seen.
Yeah. There was
Yeah.
makeup, girls' makeup with Star Wars,
Yeah.
branded makeup.
Yeah, and all the body products, and because I've seen kids toothpaste, Kylo Ren on it, and I'm like
Yeah, there was fucking oranges that were Star Wars oranges.
deodorant.
There was
like-
deodorant?
Yeah,
Oh, that's weird.
they're still at Target. You can still go to Target right now and get Kylo Ren shampoo. It still exists.
Yeah. Lisa, as far as Spider-Man's concerned, are you looking forward to Homecoming and just his introduction into the Marvel Universe?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I was so burned by the last Spider-Man movies that I'm a little apprehensive to get full on board with another one, even though I trust the Marvel way. But I'm interested. I'm hoping it's not just Robert Downey Jr. the movie. Like that's what the advertisement feels like. It feels like Iron Man featuring Spider-Man.
Yeah.
From what I've read, that's not the case. They're just
using him as the marketing device, and I get it.
but apparently it's not quite a cameo. But he apparently is only in the film for like 7 minutes.
Okay, then I'm 100% cool with that.
I'm betting it's going to be that limo scene that we constantly see.
Yeah,
and
that
then-
bridge scene where he's
and the
got the uniform.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah, that's okay. It's just the way that they're advertising it makes me think like, oh, is this Iron Man 4 featuring Tom Holland?
Yeah.
But if it's not, then I'm cool with it. I like bringing the Vulture in.
Yeah.
That's neat. That's one they somehow didn't manage to touch with Sony.
Yeah. Well, what's weird is, and it was kind of actually cool. There was the Amazing Spider-Man game where, the Amazing Spider-Man movie game where they talked about why there were a lot of animal-themed villains.
I have always wondered that.
And in that, it was just saying that Oscorp was experimenting on animals and different animal stuff. So it all kind of comes out of Oscorp. But all these video games have have you noticed like the movie video games will touch on like villains they think will never be in the movie?
Right. No, I've noticed that with the Spider-Man 2 game. I think did the same thing.
Was it with Scorpion? Was that the one with Scorpion?
Yeah, I think so. And
Oh,
then
no, Black Cat too, right?
Yeah. The Ultimate Spider-Man game. That game was dope. And that had a bunch of villains that they thought would never make it.
Yeah. They do that and they pull out like random ones that they're,
Like they dig deep into the rogues gallery and be
Yeah.
like, this is never going to show up, so let's just use them.
But now we're 5 Spider-Man movies in.
And they're running out of guys.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, well, who
So-
haven't we used? Like we got the Shocker
Shocker is in
in
this one. And Vulture.
in the Electro, and
Not Electro in
They've
this
done
one.
Rhino and Sandman
Oh, yeah.
and what's his face?
And Green Goblin.
Doc
multiple times. Dr. Octopus, Venom.
I mean, who else is there? Lizard. I mean, they've never.
Lizard,
and then Lizard
yeah.
was in the first Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Which is the only good part of Amazing Spider-Man is the school fight scene.
Okay.
The first
I
Amazing
like the
Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man movies. I thought I liked Andrew Garfield better than Tobey Maguire.
I agree
first.
agree that it was a great cast with a poor script.
Okay. I'm with you there. I'm
Yeah.
with you.
I think that the script, the part in the movie, like I when I first went into it, I went into it with like an open mind of like, all right, let's just see what they have at me. And then they get to the scene with Uncle Ben, and he's trying to say, with great power comes great responsibility, but like someone went to a thesaurus and like rearranged it, and I was just like, okay, you're really gonna have to fight to get me back after that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in this Homecoming, supposedly that saying is not there, and Uncle Ben's not there.
I mean, that's fine because it implies that Uncle Ben is long dead,
Yeah.
and that Peter's already taken that message to heart.
How weird is it going to be when they finally do show Uncle Ben, and he's this young, hot Uncle Ben? Because
To go with the young, hot Marissa Tomei.
Yeah. How weird is it? It's gonna show a flashback, and it's gonna be like someone who's like not even. It's gonna be like Channing Tatum
Yeah, it's gonna be someone like super hot like that.
and young.
It just like with a chiseled jaw.
Yeah.
Like, Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
Damn,
Like,
girl.
He's gonna get shot in the street, but his like shirt will like
Rip open.
rip open.
And then just like over his like 9-pack, just
Yeah.
over his abs. Yeah.
People have still haven't gotten used to the young, hot Aunt May.
I'm fine with it.
Because it's weird because I thought Sally Field was the young hot Aunt May.
Right.
Like compared
Compared
to
to what we know Aunt May to be.
Yeah, Rosemary Harris in the first 3
Where
Spider-Man
she was like
movies.
150 years old. It's actually, for me, it's more acceptable that Aunt May would be relative age to his actual mother.
I agree.
Than like, because I would always think like, is it like his great aunt? Like, is it his mother's aunt that's who it is? Because that's the age difference that it feels like. Because 16-year-old Peter being raised by 75-year-old Aunt May, that feels like, oh, that's his grandparents' sister instead of, his mother's sister, which Marissa Tomei feels like that's my mom's sister. If he's 16 or whatever.
Exactly. That's what I've been saying this whole time.
Yeah, that's why I'm cool with it.
Yeah,
Like, that's makes sense
I
to
don't
me.
get hot Aunt May or like whatever the big thing is. It's like practical Aunt May.
It's,
That's
it's
what,
practical. It's his mother's
practical.
sister. Like it checks out, or his father's brother. I don't know.
it's his.
It's like-
it's his father's brother's wife.
Okay,
Yeah. No, Ben and Richard were the.
that big. Oh, then yeah, then then they should be relative
I mean,
age.
Amazing Spider-Man did a pretty good job by casting Richard as very old,
Yeah. So it
But-
implies that he had a kid later in life.
but still, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I like this version.
A weird comic that came out back in 2003.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's been retconned out of existence.
Naturally, as a lot of Spider-Man stuff has.
Lisa, I'm going to direct this towards you. Have you ever read Trouble?
It sounds familiar, but I
It
don't
was
think
a
I've read it.
5-issue romance series from Marvel.
It was
Marvel,
like in the vein of Archie.
Okay.
well, kind of. Like Marvel used to have like a whole brand of romance
They
comics.
did back
yeah.
in the day.
Yeah.
Which were like
like
Archie.
pulp romance.
Patsy Walker.
That's
Yeah.
where Patsy comes from.
Yeah. Hellcat comes from that, which is weird. But anyway, point being, Trouble was about 2 brothers and 2 sisters. They're not related. The brothers are related. The sisters are related.
And that's supposed to be Peter's
Peter's
parents. And
You don't find it out till the last issue.
That's awesome.
yeah.
And that's what I was almost going to bring it up during whose brother is who. And I was like, wasn't it like
Well,
the
hang
sisters
on.
and the brothers?
Hang on, because Bendis wrote this.
Okay. Just
So it gets
Okay.
So it's this romance comic of, and I'm trying to remember it right. They go to like camp and they're young teens, or they're
Right.
older teens, I guess.
Yeah, no, they're 18.
Yeah.
and then Jason shows up and kills them all.
They pair up. They pair up. They have a lot of sex.
Naturally.
So we're talking about Aunt May having sex. And
I mean,
then
they've made
in
me
the
think about
end-
it with Jameson.
In the
so-
end, I think that Peter's dad accidentally. No. Ben.
I
impreg-
actually own the comic.
Oh, do you?
So
Okay. Is it?
if you want a
correct me if-
synopsis breakdown,
So
I can
is
give it
Correct
to
me
you.
if I'm wrong. Ben impregnates Aunt May, and they give the baby to Peter's
No.
parents. No, there's a cheating.
Richard.
There's a cheating thing.
Richard cheats on Martha.
Mary.
Mary. Richard cheats on Mary with May.
Yeah.
May is kind of like living alone and pregnant, and then Richard agrees to take the baby because it's his obligation so that May can be with Ben.
Okay, so,
So
Basically-
Aunt May is actually Spider-Man's mom.
but then they retconned it out.
Oh,
Yeah, they
I don't
retconned
know
it.
how they
Can't-
retconned it out, but it's so weird. And even the cover, this is the cover of part 1. I'm
Okay.
I'm
I
showing
remember
Lisa the
that.
cover.
I
Yeah.
remember that cover.
Yeah, so it was
It looks like freaking Olsen twins. Like,
It's 2 girls in a bikini, like
no,
2 young
and
girls
it
in a
gets
bikini.
super Marvel like right at the end because like Ben he goes off to serve in the military and he's recruited by Bucky, which is the weirdest moment.
Ugh.
It's so weird.
Marvel, check your shit, man.
But yeah,
Seriously.
then they all like the last scene is what are we gonna name the baby? And he's like, we'll name it after my father, Peter.
Ugh.
And
How adorable.
yeah, and no one knows
Hmm.
that it's actually May's kid.
One of the commentaries about Trouble was that the characters were written too similar and were hard to tell apart,
Oh.
save for the fact that one of the girls will do it on the first date when the other one won't.
Good night, everybody.
I just think it's so funny.
Now
Who
we know
okayed
Doc
that?
Ock had a great time with Aunt May.
Dude, Aunt May's a freak.
Well, we already established
Well,
that.
yeah, hashtag
Hashtag clean version.
clean version, where we talked about Spider-Man scenes that obviously would have to be cleaned up. You know those super sexual
Yes.
Spider-Man scenes in movies?
Yes.
In the Spider-Man movies. So, moving on past this, have you guys seen the trailers that have? There's a lot of trailers that have come out recently. Jumanji had 2 trailers that came out recently. The new Jumanji movie, Welcome to the Jungle, starring The Rock, starring Jack Black, Kevin Hart, and Karen Gillian, or Gillian.
Gillian.
Gillian?
It's just try to think you're Scottish.
Ugh, Karen Gillian.
Karen Gillian.
Karen
There you
Gillian.
Yeah, it's
Nailed it.
All the Nacht.
No, that's you're trying to say a German name in Scottish. Stop. Just stop.
Appropriation.
It's okay to appropriate white culture. We prefer it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you guys do.
We kind of forced you to do it for several centuries.
Yeah.
Ha ha!
It's like, I don't know whether Portuguese are considered white, but yes, I appropriated the last name. So,
Spain.
Yeah. So it's right there. Did you guys, what's your thoughts on this new Jumanji movie? It's getting some flack, not I think it's not deserved flack. But what do you guys think?
I'm at first when I thought, of course, when I first hear they're making another Jumanji movie, I'm first like checked out, don't care, like whatever. Even if it's The Rock, I'm still just gonna check out. And then I see the trailer and I'm like, oh, they didn't just try to remake the original Jumanji movie.
Yeah.
They just are kind of just slapping the name Jumanji on a new movie, which is cool. I'm glad that they didn't just decide to remake it because it's like. The concept they're going with is back in the 90s, it was like, oh, video games are the new thing, board games are the old thing. So now they're going into the old video games are the old thing, and then VR is like the new or whatever.
Because there's a scene in the original Jumanji movie where the girl was like, I don't like board games.
Right.
Right.
They try to make like board games are for old, gross people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's like old video games are old.
Yeah. Who holds these controllers with wires anymore?
Ew, gross.
Yeah. Well, the premise, for those of you who haven't seen the trailer, the premise of Welcome to the Jungle is that these 4 students get detention. They have to clean out the basement of their school, and in the basement there's some video games. I don't know why. Maybe they'll go into it. There's a video game, and they all choose a character that they don't even see. They choose it by their like name and their like description, so like demolition expert, and they pick the character and they all get sucked into the game and they become the avatar of their character. So there's The Rock, there's Kevin Hart, there's Jack Black and Karen Gillan, which aren't the kids. They're the kids in those bodies.
Yeah.
And essentially
Comically placed together. The
Because
hot girl is
Jack Black.
it's so good.
The
It looks
jock
so
is
good.
Chris Hart. The nerd is The
Rock.
Rock.
Yeah.
And
the frumpy girl
the frumpy
now
girl is Karen
becomes-
Gillan.
Yeah. And so I think there's so much comedic shtick and the gimmicks in there that like haven't been explored in the first Jumanji movie that seem to be explored in this one, right? There's the whole like you're in the wrong body type shtick.
Yeah.
But I think they're really going to play off each other because I mean these are really comedic.
They're very
like,
talented
actors.
performers. Yeah.
And so the fact that in the trailer, Jack Black is just pining over The Rock. And he's like, that's a real man. And just, it's
Well,
so
I mean,
funny.
he is.
Yes,
It's The
that's
Rock.
true.
yeah.
And there's like just the stuff where like Kevin Hart is like just making like jokes about himself.
Yeah. No, I like. Here's my thing about it. I'm very excited about the cast, the total cast, like even the smaller parts that we saw.
Well, Reese Darby is in it. Did
Yeah.
you guys see that in the UKA trailer? You know Reese Darby, Murray from Flight
Yeah.
of the Conchords.
Yes,
Yeah.
I saw him
Picks
in
him
that
up
one.
the-
Yeah.
Hop
He picks
in.
him up in the Jeep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the concept of like Jumanji has evolved as we have evolved. But I think tonally it's too comedic. At least the trailer makes it seem too comedic.
It's going to be a comedy.
Yeah, well,
there's
the
no getting
original
around
one
it.
was the comedy, but
Yeah.
like
It was
just
but it was action.
well, again,
adventure comedy.
it's like when we do these reboot sequel things, we have this unfortunate habit of parodying the original.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It
when
feels like it's making fun
Like a
of the
lampooning.
original. You know, like just tonally it doesn't make like the opening scene to Jumanji scared the shit out of me as a
Yeah, it's
kid.
pretty dark.
when they do open it up and he gets sucked in.
Well, first the burying of the original Jumanji game, which they give you no context for. It's just scary.
Yeah.
And then like he like the kids being bullied and stuff, and
yeah.
you know David Allen Greer's there,
Yeah.
and they ruin the shoe, and then like him and the dad have a fight, and then he
Mm.
gets sucked into the goddamn game. That gave me nightmares.
Yeah.
But it set kind of this is what it's about, and this one feels like, hey, what if we took Breakfast Club and mix it with a video game? And then they're like, oh yeah, well hey, Jumanji's trying to sell something. Let's just staple Jumanji on top of it and make fun of the Jumanji property at the same time. Not to mention, like I really like kind of pulp adventurism, that kind of 1880s to 1920s.
Doc Savage.
Yeah, that kind of Doc Savage, Alan Quartermain,
Yeah.
you know, going into the heart of the jungle.
Like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, like Indiana Jones. And I really liked, that's like one of my favorite parts of Jumanji was they had that kind of thematic tone to it. And this
Yeah.
one feels like it's an 80s action film is what they're playing at. Because they all have cars. Like the bad guy looks like some type of drug trafficker of some kind. Like some weird.
Yeah.
He definitely doesn't.
Is it
look
Bobby
like-
Cannavale?
It is Bobby Cannavale, who again I love him in pretty much everything he's in. but it's just like tonally it feels weird. It feels like a parody of what Jumanji could be.
Yeah, it recently, with the new like Baywatch movie and Chips and even Starsky and Hutch, which my dad and I saw like opening weekend in theaters. 'Cause
Nice.
My dad liked the original show, which is nothing like the movie, but
Not
my
at
dad
all.
loves like stupid comedies like that, and so we watched it, and we loved it just because it was dumb. It wasn't necessarily a great movie, but there were really some good elements. But they're lampooning. They're not taking that source material seriously, which is fine. I don't think they're going that way with Jumanji. And I also noticed, like, I think they're going to bring in more of the living in a video game elements. So, like, in the second trailer, the UK trailer that was released, like, Kevin Hart mentions, he's like, how come I can't run any faster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
the
there are
limitations.
limits.
Well, like
And The
in
Rock was, like, The Rock's
he's
really
like,
strong, right?
He's like, I don't want to punch you because I think I'm really strong.
And it just punches that dude through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that likens back to the original film of playing with the limitations of the universe in parentheses. I just don't know. Maybe it's just the trailer. Something about it just feels tonally cheeky. Like, hey, let's make fun of Jumanji, and it's like, no, let's not make fun of Jumanji. Jumanji really meant a lot to me growing up.
Yeah.
It's not Starsky and Hutch. It's not Baywatch.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think this is just an attractive trailer.
Then
Yeah,
the
it's
trailer
like with the
missed
Spider-Man.
the mark.
They're marketing it like, look, there's a bunch of Robert Downey Jr. and it might not be that way. Trailers, I can't trust trailers anymore, honestly,
Yeah.
because they intentionally can edit it to be like 8 different ways. Like there's a whole bunch of YouTube videos of what if Mary Poppins was a horror movie. Like you could edit a trailer to look however you want it to look.
I'm still waiting for Warner Brothers to get back to me because they owe me some money for that goddamn Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah, nope.
They sold
sorry,
me
bud.
a very different film. No, what's that YouTube video where it's like they do The Shining 4 different ways? They do it as
Yeah,
like a comedy.
as like a romantic comedy.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do it like 4 different ways.
Like a kids movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to trailers for me, I don't watch them for the story because the story could be something totally different.
Right.
It's the emotion that it gives me. So the new Last Jedi trailer, like not the new one, but the only one that's been out, like that emotion hit me, and
Yeah.
just seeing everything, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. Like that's what I want.
Yeah,
from a
What was
trailer.
the emotion that hit you? Because I'm still curious what they were trying to accomplish with that.
I thought
trailer.
there was a sense of wonder with it. Like
It felt kind of dark. I felt
Yeah,
kind of like
there was a dark-
hopeless, almost like
well with the
Well, yeah, it
X-Wings,
doesn't help having like fucking The Last Jedi
as the
pretty
name
much,
of your movie.
as the name of your movie, and Luke Skywalker being like, "What needs to happen is the Jedi need to die." It's like, what the fuck happened?
I was like, I feel bad. This makes me feel sad.
No, does he know that Han died for this?
No, Luke, please.
No, is this whole trilogy gonna be super fucking dark? Because I cannot handle that.
Maybe it needs to be that way.
What did you guys think about the new Inhumans trailer?
Dug it.
Yeah, I love me some Black Bolt, so I'm all about it, dude.
I was-
Black Bolt's one of my favorite Marvel characters.
Oh yeah, Oh my god, when they like at
They
the end of the
threaten?
trailer, at the end of the trailer where they just nudge him and he goes, ugh, and then it's like boof.
You
Yeah.
guys liked it? You guys liked the trailer?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I took into fact that hey, it's going to be TV. It's
Yeah.
going to be on a smaller scale. It's not going to have the production budget that a feature length
movie
film
would
would have
have.
had. But that film would have bombed.
yeah,
and the Humans
what-
movie would have. Yeah, no, they couldn't
They
drum up
played it
enough
right.
Well,
interest.
also they couldn't drum up enough interest with Agents of Shield. Like
Right.
with the Inhumans there, they made them so lo-fi. Like
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
they did.
Well, I mean, you have budget constraints, and they blow their budget on floating battle cruisers.
Helicarriers.
Oh yeah.
You know, they blow their budget on that.
need
They
the
don't-
helicarrier.
They don't have anything left for Inhumans. But yeah, no, like Lockjaw, I loved Lockjaw showing up.
Yeah.
That was great. I hope they make him a dog. I hope he's not a dude who got turned
Yeah,
into a
because
dog.
I mean that's a recent thing that somebody
I
brought up.
saw that. Yeah.
I
It's-
like that it does take place on the moon because I remember on the show, didn't we talk about like that's bullshit? It takes place in Hawaii, or maybe I just got in an argument with someone about because it was filmed in Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
And everyone was like, "That's really lame. It doesn't even take place on the moon." And then it's
No,
like,
they
"Nope,
transport.
it,
Yeah.
it takes place on the moon. Like it's there, man."
Because Ultimate Inhumans were in the
Himalayas.
Yeah.
But then they go to the moon, I
Himalayas.
think.
Yeah, but yeah, they have a portal to the moon, I think.
No, I think they after
Oh, after that whole
they
arc,
lift up.
they go. That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens. Yep.
So
I like the action in it. Looks pretty good. I mean,
Hope-
for what they can do.
I want Triton not Triton, Gorgon to look more like Gorgon. Karnak looks like Karnak. That's cool, and it's cool that he's an Asian actor, Ken Long.
Fantastic actor. I pretty much
wait,
love,
Ken Long,
I love
right?
when he shows up and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. Triton, I was afraid that they would make him just a human being looking guy, but no, I think they went totally green with fins.
Yeah,
They
no,
did,
he
yeah.
did. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
totally green with him.
Again, Lockjaw. People were afraid Lockjaw wouldn't exist,
Yep,
right?
he does.
But Lockjaw
You
exists.
almost can't not have the Inhumans without Lockjaw to get them around. Like,
But he's so weird.
Yeah,
right?
well,
he's
we
a
also-
huge dog.
how much money has Guardians of the Galaxy made? And there's a talking raccoon in a tree.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, weird is the new thing. I just
Weird's the
watched.
new-
I watched Doctor Strange again, and I was like, yes, more weird.
Yeah.
I think Doctor Strange could have gone weirder. Like, make the
They
cloak more of a magic carpet.
They will.
Like
they
it
will.
wasn't right. Like
They
Well,
didn't
they
wanna
made
go-
it his sidekick, which I love.
But they
like
barely
the part where
used
it
it.
wipes his tears away.
They
and he's
wanted.
like,
They didn't
"Stop
want to
it."
go full balls in weird with
they
it.
should have.
But they did enough to where people go, I want more weird.
I thought Doctor Strange was kind of boring. That's me. The movie.
Well, for me, yeah, until the end sequence. I liked how the end sequence went with
Yeah.
Dormammu.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
funny as
No, the third. It was probably the strongest third act
Yeah.
that Marvel has put out. Because
Yeah.
third acts are inherently difficult with superhero films, and the fact that they just leaned hard into, you know what? He's not going to break shit. He's going to fix shit, and he's not going to beat a bad guy with his fist. He's going to beat him with his mind. I thought
like
they
that.
handled the third act better than probably most superhero films
Correct.
do.
Yeah. So Inhumans. I mean, I'll watch it. Will you watch it in theaters when they
No.
release that first pilot episode in
You
theaters?
know what? Yes, I will. Just because I remember talking wistfully with my brother years ago about like TV shows doing that, like multi-platform integration and things like that. That's the future of film and television, and I'm going to encourage that. It probably will not look great. It'll be a TV movie, but on IMAX, and I'll be like, well, was that worth $30? But you know what? To promote the future, yeah, why not? Join me.
Yeah. So when it comes to being a geek, there's a lot of different types of geeks out there, right? There are people who have rediscovered their geekiness through these movies and this new wave, right, of geekdom.
Late
but there's
bloomers,
right. There's some of us,
or
you know,
born again.
born again.
There's born again geeks, right? There's also people who hated on geekdom, but now
It's the cool thing to do.
it's
so
the cool thing to do.
I would call them born again,
Mm.
just because
If you're
like if you
you never had it in the first
if
place.
you know born again people,
They
they're
never had it
like-
in the first place.
They're overzealous about it, and I feel like the people who like were like, "Oh, this sucks," and then they're like, "Oh no, it's not. It's super awesome. I love it."
Yeah.
You know, that's. But that's.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
There's so many different types of geeks out there, right? And we the argument is that I make is that, like, I mean, who's a real geek and who's not a real geek? I don't know. It's about the passion, the real passion, the sincere passion you have in the moment. But, I mean, myself, I grew up as a geek, right?
Yeah.
That was a big thing about myself. Lisa,
Yes,
growing up geek, you grew up a geek.
I
right?
did because I am the child of one. Like,
Ooh,
yeah. So
that's the way it works.
I'm a second generation.
Even more powerful, right?
Right. And because it's always been a part of my life. Like my father, he was born in 1950. So when he went to college, one of his first reading materials that he had to go to his freshman year was The Hobbit. And he read that. It says Continued Adventures in Lord of the Rings. And so he followed that and he's like, this is amazing. And around the same time is when Star Trek had just come out, the original series. And once he was on that, he's like, that was it. Star Trek was his thing. He grew up in like the 50s with all the old like pulp serial, like Flash Gordons and all those other kinds of shows. And he's always been enamored by those. And he just carried that on. Like that's his passion. And then when Star Wars came out in 1977, like he's like, I gotta go see that. And then that got passed on to like my brother, who then passed it on to me. Like one of my favorite memories actually is my dad would tell me, like, because of video games. My dad likes playing video games. So he goes, I have this memory of like it was 1 a.m. and I had just put you down to sleep, and then I go and try to beat level 5 in the original Zelda. Like he remembers that. And then I remember Thursday nights.
Yes.
Thursday nights in my house where Dad's watching Next Generation. Like you don't get the TV that night. It's Dad's Next Generation night.
Did you watch with him?
Sometimes, if I had enough kid to, because Next Generation's hard for a kid to get into.
It's
Yeah.
heavy.
It's really heavy, but it's cool to see like the special effects and blowing up and things.
Which is why as a kid, I liked Star Wars better than Star Trek.
Right, and that's why my brother and I took more to Star Wars than Star Trek. But
Yeah.
my dad was never like disappointed in it. Like
Yeah.
he goes, that's just what they are.
It's
Well,
not like
like-
a Romeo and Juliet thing.
Yeah.
Well, like, yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Gene Roddenberry specifically said with the first the first 3 seasons of the Next Generation that by the time they got to the Next Generation, there was no conflict left in the universe.
There wasn't. Everything was solved.
Everything was solved, so there was no. So like all of the other producers was like, it was a nightmare trying to write this show because there's no tension. Which is why season 4 they added the Borg in.
yeah.
That's a Gene step down from kind of creative lead on it, and they added the Borg, and they ramped up tension back into the series.
So yeah, for me, it's always been a part of my life. Like I always joke that I'm pretty sure the first movie I ever saw, like as a baby in a crib or in like a little thing, was Return of the Jedi, because every holiday my grandparents had the original VHS copies of Star Wars and we didn't. So when my brother, he was like 3 or 4 years old when I was born, they would put it on for him, and I'm like, I imagine like they put me in front of the TV with him or whatever. Like I was around that. So the first movie I can legitimately say I probably ever saw was Return of the Jedi.
It's funny that you say Return of the Jedi because I think that the first half hour of Return of the Jedi is probably the first Star Wars movie I ever saw.
Yeah.
The reasoning behind it was so my parents don't really they don't like sci-fi stuff. They're not a fan. My parents are not geeks, right?
They're
like
very practical people.
other than their like disco days. Like they're very like
Yeah, they got the code
Everybody
down
has
in
their face.
system.
yeah. But they're
I've met Mama Perera. She's a very practical woman.
yeah. I mean, they're fun, and like now they watch like we can watch like stuff together, right? But like we watch Marvel movies together. There's a different level of satisfaction I get out of it. Right? And they're more likely to watch Marvel movies than Star Wars movies. So I didn't grow up with Star Wars until like 4th grade maybe, and basically what happened was when we would choose as a class what to watch on our specific day that we got to watch a movie, but we couldn't watch the whole movie because of time.
Yeah,
we
you
would
only watch
always
the first
pick Return of the
45
Jedi.
minutes.
Yeah,
Because it does have the best 45 minutes.
Yeah.
of any of the films.
Everything on Tatooine is fun and
that's why I love Return of the Jedi so much. Even though the Ewoks had a little bit more to,
Right.
It's
I wanted
the- it's
to.
the
I'll always say
worst of
Return's
the
my
original.
favorite.
Yeah, because of that first part.
Yeah, no, the first part's great.
Yeah.
The rest of the film is lackluster.
Right, I
It's the
agree,
weakest
but
of
I
the-
still think that Return of the Jedi is my favorite
Yeah.
because of that first part.
Yeah, because it holds such a place in your heart too.
Yeah.
of-
But we watch it over and over.
Yeah, same.
Like it was just the first 45 minutes over and over because
Yep.
every time the class would vote for it.
Yeah, I have a distinct memory of finishing Return of the Jedi, rewinding it. Once we finally had our own VHS copies,
Yeah.
rewinding it and then watching it over again.
1997. That's when they released
Yes.
the
The
VHS.
special
Yep,
edition.
correct.
stuff?
It was special edition VHS.
They had the 96 was the theatrical release
Yeah.
to show off all the new stuff that George added.
That's actually what we had.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. They weren't the re-release. They were just before the re-release, but
Yeah.
after, not the originals.
Yeah, after George had tinkered.
He had taken over a little bit, but it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've only ever seen the tinkered ones, to be honest. So
Same here.
I have no reverence. Like the whole Han shot first debate, I just look as the ultimate example of how brilliant of a man George Lucas is. Because he created that debate simply to sell t-shirts.
you say that. This is real.
There is a picture of him on the set of Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull wearing a shirt that says Han shot first. He's the guy who decided Han did not, but he's also the guy who until 4 years ago owned the exclusive merchandising rights to Star Wars. So he created the whole scenario of Han shot first just to sell shirts.
I wouldn't put it past George.
I love him for it. He's a genius.
Hero growing up, like, did your mom like really like like comic books and stuff? Like how was your experience growing up geek?
You know what? I was not actually encouraged to grow up geek. My father is not a geek. He is a punker, skater, biker, surfer, athletic guy, and he tried to encourage that in me. My mom is not. I mean, like she grew up with. She read The Hobbit when she was 3 years old, cover to cover. That's how they knew she was a genius. She read like Lord of the Rings by the time she was 5. She watched Star Trek, but she
doesn't speak English. She only speaks Elvish.
She only
she only
speaks-
speaks
yeah.
Elvish. Well, but she can't be bothered. Like because she thinks on such a high level, like she doesn't get attached to things. She doesn't care about things. So she never cared about Star Trek. She never cared about Star Wars. She never cared. It was just like one more thing she would
To
read.
consume?
To consume.
Yeah.
So neither of my parents were super into geek stuff. Like the reason I'm named Hero is not because my parents loved comic books. It's because my dad loved a book series called Horatio Hornblower, and they called Horatio Captain Hero. And he was like, well, I don't want my kid to be named Horatio. People will make fun of him, so I'll just name him Hero. But when I was a young kid, my parents encouraged me to read books on mythology. And then I was diagnosed as dyslexic, and it became clear that I had a very strong learning disability. I could not read. So my parents started buying me comic books to encourage my creative side. To like my parents would buy me illustrated versions of novels, which thank God for the graphic novel community doing that for people like us. And from there, it was my creative outlet. And then my parents both worked, so I spent a lot of my childhood on Fox 11 from 2 to 6 o'clock at night, watching Batman the Animated Series and Animaniacs and all, whatever was on. And so I developed it, not necessarily second generation, it was first generation, but it was just like, I'm not going to go outside, it's hot out there. And much to the chagrin of my parents, I just became like the biggest geek ever. And my dad, he still doesn't fully understand it.
My parents just don't understand.
I mean, it
me.
is nice to have a dad who understands why I do what I do, because he has seen literally every episode of every Star Trek that has ever aired, and he watches reruns religiously.
To be fair, I mean, the bullies would be more likely to pick on your dad than you.
No,
I
used
mean,
to.
that's a good thing, right?
The running gag would always be when I got older, and I would watch my dad watching I'd see my dad watching Star Trek, and I'd just yell the Homer Simpson of nerd. and then one day he caught me watching it. He did the same thing to me. So it was like,
great.
Turnabout's fair play, Dad. I get it.
I never had that. I never had that problem. I was never bullied for my geekiness.
How tall are you right now?
6'6".
Yeah, that's why.
Have you been 6'6"? When did you stop growing? Like in 5th grade, you were 6'6"?
No, in the 5th grade, I was 6 feet tall.
Jesus Christ, Hero. That's why no one's picking
Yeah,
you.
no, it was.
Yeah,
weird.
you weren't like me, where I weighed 105 pounds.
No,
and
I was picked
wore
on.
glasses
Like,
and
don't-
braces and had acne.
Don't get it wrong.
Come on.
Don't get me wrong. I was picked on, but I was not picked on because of my geekiness.
Yeah.
I was picked on, because I was tall and awkward
Right.
and I cried a lot.
'Cause
And
kids
it was
are evil.
really, because kids are evil. But it was actually the 5th grade and the advent of Pokemon, where like my geekiness converged into success and popularity. Because I remember in the 5th grade, before I even knew what Pokemon was, it was like a couple weeks before I got the game, I saw a picture of Rhydon and I drew it. And everybody was like, that's so cool. And they would give me Pokemon cards, and I would draw the Pokemon from the Pokemon cards. And then so I learned everything I could about Pokemon, and I just became the coolest kid in the school because I knew how to draw Pokemon, and I knew how to do everything everything to do with Pokemon. And that's what it was. That was the hook for me, was like, oh, if I just invest like a few minutes out of my day to remember that Pikachu evolves into Raichu because you give him a Thunderstone, people will think I'm cool. Hell yeah, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And contrary to popular media from the 1970s till about 2002, being a geek actually does make you cool and can, in fact, get you laid.
It depends on what degree and how it works and whatnot. Yeah. I had a similar thing about drawing Dratini. I drew Dratini
Nice.
and it was like
Cute.
really good, and it was like, Anyway, point being is, my personal thing is that, my parents weren't geeks at all. They were more practical. They were way more conservative with me and my sister growing up. So like, yeah, like I also wasn't allowed to watch a lot of things growing up. So I really stuck on cartoons till like late in life, and I didn't really I didn't tell everybody that, I think, right? But I was also a geek growing up. It wasn't like I was a cool guy, but I was watching cartoons on the side. Third, fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, I was in a GATE class.
So I was in GATE
I was
fourth
in
grade.
GATE.
Sorry?
I was GATE fourth grade.
Oh,
I think.
okay.
Yeah.
We had a third and fourth combo class and a fifth and sixth combo class. So there were people that I was with in the same class for 4 years, and there was people a year older than me I was with in class for 2 years, and the other 2 years for a year younger, right? So point being is like we were this microcosm of like what really is cool in school and what's not. Like we didn't know because we didn't really like intermix that much. I mean, I didn't. Maybe there are other people out there that went to Golden Hill Elementary that mixed with the other classes, but it was kind of a different experience because we were all smart, right? And we spent a lot of time like learning things, and like there are gonna be geeks and nerds together, right? Like I feel like that happens, and that pressure to be cool was a little bit less than what might have been in some of the other classes.
Yeah, and I think like we really benefited from like we're the last generation to be shameful about geekiness.
And I was definitely,
Yeah.
especially after elementary school.
Oh yeah, it took me years to come to terms with the fact that I can be open about playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like,
Well, yeah, you're still.
Oh, fuck you.
That's still horrible.
Hey, eat a
hey,
dick.
I'm outnumbered.
You are out.
You are
fucking
outnumbered in
numbered,
this room,
bro.
my friend.
Ah!
You ever want to book Vin Diesel on this show? You better play some Dungeons and
No, I'm gonna bring my
Dragons.
street sharks. I'm gonna talk to him about that.
But like, yeah, I mean, I used to be so embarrassed about that stuff, but really it's become something that's like, thank God for popular media being run by geeks.
Yeah, like the D&D podcasts, like a lot of the major players in like media today were like, yeah, I grew up playing it, and I want to play it again.
Yeah, yeah. Or just like my friends will hit me up, like just normal people, not geeks, hit me up and just be like, "Hey, I want to watch the Star Wars. What's the best order to watch it in?
Star
the
Wars.
The machete,
The machete order, yeah.
You know, which I
Which-
have a
which is which one?
modification. I have a modification.
What's
on
the machete order and what's your modification?
It's
Lisa will do
three.
machete.
It's 3, 4. It's 3. No, it's 4. It's 4, 4, 5, 2, 3, 6.
Oh, skipping one.
Yep.
Yes.
Machete skips one.
Yep.
I thought
skips
machete was
one.
4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6. No,
No,
it cuts out
it's 4,
one.
It's 4,
altogether.
5, 2, 3, 6.
It's true.
All
You don't
right.
need one.
You do not.
No, I disagree. You do need one.
Ooh.
My order, the superior order,
Okay.
is 4, 1, 4, 1, 2, 5, 3, 6. Because, and it's perfect for people who have never seen Star Wars, which there are legitimately people who have never seen Star Wars. It hides the Anakin reveal for as long as possible, and it gets you invested in Anakin's character. Because if you don't know Anakin's going to be Darth Vader, yeah, you think he's a bitch in 2, but 1 is actually tolerable. If you don't know he's going to eventually become Darth Vader, 1 is tolerable.
Wait, they literally say his last name's Skywalker.
Right.
So then you would be spoiled.
No.
Once you see Luke
Yeah.
Skywalker's in 4. You watch 1, you find Anakin Skywalker. You're gonna know the reveal.
No, because you don't learn the reveal until Empire Strikes Back.
But
in
you can put 2 and 2
4
together.
That they have the same last name.
Yeah.
No, but in A New Hope, he says your father Anakin was a Jedi like
Oh.
me.
He's a Jedi like me, and he was killed.
I
And
get-
he was
I get-
killed by
okay.
Darth Vader.
So
So you're
you-
putting off the reveal for as long as possible, and then after the reveal happens, then you have 3, which is the fall of Anakin, and then you have the redemption in 6.
You're saying you're gonna be watching 1 and 2, being like, "Oh, this is a story about Luke's father."
Yeah.
You never know that he's gonna be Darth Vader.
never knowing that he's going to be Darth Vader.
Shit. Okay.
And now I wish I hadn't ever
which
grown up
changes
with Star
the
Wars.
entire. Yeah, no, I've watched it with people who've never seen Star Wars, and they legitimately cry when Darth Vader says, "No, I am your father."
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
I've never heard of this order.
Yeah.
Has this been thrown out there? Like,
No, it's like I've tried to put it up on forums, and mostly people just go, "Fuck you, 1 sucks."
I mean, that's true. But
No,
I get it.
I was 9 years old. I could not have gotten through I would not be into Star Wars if it was not for Phantom Menace. I will say that. And the reason I think so many people our age hate it is because they are just like me. And they could not have gotten into that fucking series if it was not for one. If it was not for Phantom Menace, it wouldn't have happened. I can say that for me. I remember.
Not for me.
I tried to. Well, I tried to watch the originals. They were boring and they looked old.
It's true, even by that point.
And,
yeah, I mean.
And being 9, try to get a 9-year-old to watch a movie from the 70s. They're going to complain that it looks old.
Yeah. I guess I'm just weird and different because I grew up with it.
Well, yeah, you grew up with it. You grew up with someone telling you were going to watch this.
Yeah, I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Star Wars was going to be put on, and I didn't have a choice. So it was either enjoy it or not.
It's your dinner.
Yeah, and what's weird is I have my dad who's a big geek, and my mom isn't at all. Like, what?
Oh, okay.
But what's really sweet is over time, she's actually like gotten into it because she wants to relate to me and my dad. She's like, I wanted to know what you guys are actually talking about. So she actually like made an effort, but especially with Lord of the Rings. That's where she first like tried to make an effort of like, I want to understand what it is you guys are so passionate about.
My girlfriend's the same way. We should do a segment about that next week. Just kind of like,
Call my mom.
Yeah, right.
We're talking about geek dating.
Yeah, talking about geek
I was
dating.
just thinking about ideas for it.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's do that next week.
Yeah, we got to find the biggest man whores out there that we know.
Trust me, we know plenty.
That are also geeks. Which it exists now because of our weird, like, just the time that we grew up. Like, we were devoid of a Star Wars, like a new movie, until way late.
Yeah,
right?
I was 12.
What year were you born?
86.
Okay, I was born in 88. You were born in 88.
I was
Yeah.
98.
We
We were
didn't-
like 9 and 10. You were like 12.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that checks out.
Yeah,
That's
we didn't
crazy.
And like really superstar for science fiction before that. There was I can't.
Because there was no Star Trek.
I can't think of anything.
Just the Star Trek movies.
Yeah, just the Star Trek movies, which my parents tried to get me to sit through.
I couldn't.
Oh, my
as a
God.
Those
kid,
are hard.
Star
Those are
Trek was a
hard.
punchline, like to a joke. You know what I mean? As a kid, for me,
Yeah.
even being a geek, I couldn't do
Right.
Star Trek.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and the great thing is, like, obviously, if we have children, they will most likely be raised geeks.
Yeah.
My kids are doomed. So it's
That is true.
my children are doomed.
That is true.
Just doom.
Well, doomed.
Doctor,
Your children are doomed.
Well, yes.
We are all doomed.
If I could be the mother
in
of
Latveria.
the future Victor Von Doom, then that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm done with that.
By the way, quick question: does Doom have an accent to you or not?
Yes.
Okay, it's like an Eastern
When
European.
I read him in my head, he has one.
like I am
But
Doom.
metal
I am
twinged.
Doctor Doom.
It's the Eastern.
It's Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Mads Mikkelsen is
Yeah.
Dr.
I think it's not overbearing because he did spend a lot of time in the U.S.
yeah.
But it's definitely there. Anytime I try to do him without one, I'm like,
Yeah.
give it him even if it's just like a hair, right?
What about a British accent?
Doesn't make sense. I mean,
Doesn't make no.
doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, because he grew up in Hungary, on the border of Hungary and Turkey, like
Well, I mean, it depends on the
version you're going with.
Like
I guess.
classic. Yeah, he's got to have a somewhat moderate accent
Yeah.
because he would have been raised lower class until he was about 16. Then he would try his hardest to drop the accent, so it would still pop up.
Right.
But if you're going like ultimate, he was an aristocrat from day one. I could actually see him having like a posh.
Yeah,
kind
ultimate,
of,
I could see that.
almost British, not quite, but
Yeah.
like almost transatlantic. I believe is what you'd call that.
Yeah.
That was just a question that I had for your Doom kids.
Yeah, well, thank you. They will have they'll have light Eastern European accents.
Yeah.
I will try to encourage that in them.
Kind of like theoretical tangent. What if our kids are like jocks?
I would.
Like what are we
I mean,
gonna,
if they play
like,
baseball
what if,
for me, it's
what if we're gonna
fine.
do if like they are just totally uninterested?
Well, my kids can be jocks. Like, I don't know, my sister and I, like, and like my dad, we played rugby, right, for like years. Well, I played for 5 years, and my dad played when he was younger, and he coached and he reffed and whatnot. And my sister
why he's
played for
got
like 12
arms
years.
like a god.
Does he have arm?
No,
Like,
you do.
Oh,
you are a
me.
well-built man.
Thank you. No, well, my family actually it's about strong thighs and calves. Like, that's why my legs couldn't fit in those boots when we did Shakespeare. It's because of those calves, man. But like, so I get like it's not that like growing up geek made me like not want to do sports.
People are multifaceted.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like you could also argue that sports fans are geeks. I mean,
In their own way.
They're closeted geeks.
Well,
though.
what's the difference between Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy football?
There's, I mean, not really that much.
There's really not that much difference.
Well, isn't fantasy football about like okay? Because this is something I don't understand about fantasy football or in general. It's like you're not playing as those.
No.
Characters.
You're trying to
drafting
build the
them,
ultimate.
right?
You're trying to build the ultimate team
Yeah.
Yeah.
to garner you the most points that will get you, depending on like the type of fantasy football you're doing. Generally speaking, you're trying to gather the ultimate team. It's like when you do like who would be the ultimate superhero team.
Right.
It's the same thing, but with football.
It's like a geek conversation, but I don't
Yep.
feel like it's like Dungeons and Dragons in the sense that like you're not like my Russell Wilson will
No,
run
because
down the
actually
field
they
here.
do pit them against each
There
other.
will be head-to-heads.
There will be
What? So
head-to-heads.
there's some head-to-head
They-
leagues.
They pit.
What?
Yeah.
They
You
pit them
guys are
against each other.
geeks.
Shut
yeah,
up.
no, like
No, not you
No,
guys.
them.
No.
You out there for some reason. Why are the
Well,
fantasy
just like,
football people
just like
listening
have
to
a
this?
conversation with a sports person about their favorite team.
Yeah.
it is more obnoxious than having a conversation with me about Batman.
Well, here's the thing. I'm a big baseball fan.
You are.
So I get both sides of the conversation. Like I can stand in the middle and listen to both and like try to mediate.
Yeah, but you ask any sports fan like what's more socially acceptable,
Sports.
and they're gonna say and why. Like you know what I mean? Like it's just cooler. It's about athleticism. It's like, bitch, you ain't on the field right now playing.
You're eating a hot dog
Yeah.
and drinking $12 beer in the stands.
Yeah. No,
I'm eating $12 popcorn in the movie theater.
Yeah.
My passion encourages me to write short films and it will eventually get me a career in the film industry. Your passion encouraged you to eat hot dogs and drink beer
And get
with
obese.
Yeah, and get obese and
But
diabetes.
see, that's why I mean I can't fight like either side.
Yeah.
Because I can accept either side. Like whenever someone's whenever I always get kind of triggered when someone goes like, "It's time for sports ball," and I'm like, don't do to them what they did to you.
no,
like,
fuck them. They deserve it.
Ooh, this is a bigger philosophical thing. This is coming like
No, but I was kidding because my point is it is the same thing. Fandom is fandom.
right.
yeah, fandom. Yeah.
And eventually
You're
we're
right.
going to get to that point where there's because I'm also a very big basketball fan. If we were to talk basketball, I could talk your ear off about the Celtics.
Right now, you're dressed like you're hosting a sports podcast. I
Right?
can see that.
Yeah.
You're
just missing the hat.
I'll post the picture online.
Yes, it's ridiculous. I'm going to a pool party, so I get it. It's fandom, and what we need to do is just become, and it's happening. We're becoming more mainstream with fandom, which is great.
It's passion. We're just finally like
Right.
allowed to be more open about our individual passions, and that's what it unites people under a
Yeah.
common banner.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. Can't we all get along?
that's what I say
Right.
every goddamn day. I said, why
Right.
can't we just all get along?
Yeah.
Stop polarizing shit.
It's people just want to be better than everybody. Like right? Like that's so they want to say their interests are better than other people's
because
interests.
by in turn, my interests make up who I am. Therefore, my interest is better than yours because I'm better than you.
Well, yeah.
Right.
I mean, you hear about that all the time in the geek community, like cosplay community, trivia community. This whole notion of like, well, even in your intro, you kind of said it. You were like, "What's a geek and what's not a geek?"
Yeah.
And you were like, people who are legitimately passionate.
yeah.
So there is
Sincerely sincere passion is what I consider. So even if you picked up X-Men yesterday, if you spent the whole night reading X-Men comics, like
tomorrow,
yeah.
tomorrow you're in.
Welcome
Yeah.
to the club.
right.
That X-Men was my gateway drug into comics.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I
still remember the cover of the first issue I ever bought at the Borders that was upstairs at my mom's work because my
Oh,
mom
yeah?
worked at a mall.
Okay.
So I went upstairs and she's just like, "Yeah, I get off work in like an hour, you know." So I just went up to the Borders upstairs and I picked up X-Men whatever that was
Yeah.
in the little rack that spins near the front register,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Yeah, remember when bookstores didn't know what to do with comics?
They just kind of like stuck them on
Yeah.
like one of those like magazine racks that
Yeah.
rotated around. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you go into a Barnes and Noble and like comics have taken over a whole fourth of the store.
Right, it's a whole
it's
aisle of just
ridiculous.
nothing but graphic novels.
Graphic novels and merchandise. You
Yeah.
know, like now they have.
they have a lot of merchandise at bookstores now. Yeah.
They do,
Yeah.
yeah. A ton.
Yeah, I had a Walden Books at the Brea Mall. There was a Walden Books.
Oh, good old
that I got
Walden
got
Books.
my single issues there, and then my graphic novels I got from a Barnes and Noble near my mom's work. It was around the time I think Executioner's Song was like in trade paperback. Like X-Men
wow.
Executioner's Song, I think.
For me, it was
But that art was amazing.
yeah. For me, I think it was during the whole Azazel thing.
Oh, that's later. Oh, Chuck Austin.
Yeah. That's when I first got into actual like individual comic books.
Yeah.
I still own the first comic book that was ever purchased for me.
Oh yeah. What
Yeah.
what was it?
It's Nightfall, I want to say number 28.
Same. That's
Which is the issue right after Bane has broken Batman. And so the first panel is him throwing Batman off of a building.
ugh.
And the cover is actually like it's Bane holding Robin on one end, and then like it's a double panel because it's also the first one where Azrael takes up the mantle as Batman. So you have OG Batman, and then you open and it's a fake cover, and then it has Azrael
Ooh,
Batman.
reveal.
My grandpa got it for me. He had no idea what he was doing, but I still have.
Dude,
it.
that's a
Beginning
good
of the end.
That's a good pick
Yeah.
for someone who doesn't know what they're doing. Because nowadays, when like grandparents don't know what they're doing, they're gonna get like a movie like Transmorphers, and they'll give it
The
to
ones
their
that look
kids.
similar.
Yeah.
This is what you like, right?
I saw a movie that was released. It's called American Mummy, but the American part is really small, so it just looks like Mummy. So it looks like the new
yeah,
Mummy
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah,
but
no,
it's
they do it on purpose.
It's American Mummy.
They're exploiting old people
Yeah.
with those
They are.
things. They 100% are.
Yeah, Transmorphers.
Yeah, yeah.
On a totally unrelated note, that just reminded me of like I have a very conservative religious friend. Well, they're a couple, and they have 4 daughters, and I'm gonna start shipping them comics of Lumberjanes, because they're not gonna know, but it's gonna be so great.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and that's going to be amazing.
It's gonna be so good. Just
Dude.
shipping them like, hey, yeah, I know it's the girl's birthday because they have 4 daughters,
And they're all all the birthdays are within 3 months of each other.
all of them. Yeah, like they just could not stop having daughters.
Every-
so I'm
every
just gonna
2 years,
send them.
yeah.
I'm just gonna send them a bunch of Lumberjanes comics. They're not gonna read them, and the little girls
That
are gonna.
that reminds me of when I was a kid, and my sister and I.
But they already are. Dude, they already love like comic book characters already.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, one of them loves the Hulk. Like that's her favorite. She had a Hulk smash Sophia the First party.
Who?
Sophia the First, the little princess. She
Oh,
had
yeah,
where
yeah.
Hulk basically smashed her birthday party,
What?
and that was her idea, like the kid's idea.
That's cool.
Yeah, she's a cool kid.
That just reminded me of a thing that I haven't thought about in a while. Is that like we once, my sister and I, or my family had a family friend that gave us a Left Behind book as like a present.
Oh God.
And my parents didn't know what it was, and I didn't even know what it was until I heard like later about. Like we didn't read it even, and I was like, "This is the fucking thing you give to a kid, like of a family that's like, like we're not a religious family at all. Like you fucking gave me a book about Revelations,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Do not.
So
do
you're
not
you're
give
like
me-
that, but for them, like
Well.
You're the inverse of that.
yeah,
Yes, I'm the liberal inverse of that. Yes, I mean it is about female heroism. Yes, it is also about exploring your sexuality and non-conforming to gender identity because it's 2017, guys, and I don't care if you live in bumfuck middle of nowhere. Your kids are gonna have to live in the fucking future post-Trump. God damn it!
yep.
Sorry, that was that.
That got a little real. I mean, that got a little,
Yeah, I popped a blood vessel there.
Nice.
I would like to say that the Keeg is bipartisan,
we are.
and so, but
We're all inclusive.
yeah.
Oh, please don't ever bring like a super hardcore conservative person on here.
Oh,
You should.
we need to.
You absolutely should.
Well, 'cause I don't
different viewpoints
understand-
make us all better.
Something that I heard recently is that there was, conservative people upset that why are comics liberal and why aren't there more conservative creators out there? And I would love to bring on someone who can tell me why that's a must. But that is a topic for another show.
That's a whole can of worms.
Thank you guys out there for listening to the Keeg. Please feel free. We got a lot of social media out there. We have a Facebook page at facebook.com/thekeeg. We have Instagram and a Twitter at The Keeg Show. We have youtube.com. I just burped into the microphone. youtube.com/thekeeg out there. Feel free, like, comment, subscribe. It's super important to us that, we get that, but it's super important to us that you guys like us in the first place. So thank you guys for listening. We are now on iTunes. We're on Google Play. We're on SoundCloud. You can listen to us there. How are you listening to us here? I'm not sure. But the point being is tell your friends. You can find us anywhere. Listen to our podcast. Let us know what you think. You can always hashtag the Keeg on whatever social media that you use, and we will find it, and we will answer questions for you guys. If you guys want to ask Hero what his favorite superhero is,
Batman.
I mean, come on.
we know that. I was trying to come up
But
with
if
some...
you want to ask me what my favorite Batman writer is or my favorite iteration of Batman,
he'll answer it on the show.
uh-huh.
When Lisa, no doubt, comes back onto the show,
Aw.
you can ask her who her favorite Fantastic Four character is. Don't say it, Lisa. You can ask that.
Batman.
It's a loaded question. Batman. Well, that reminds, dude. This is why my mom is adorable. She was watching Big Bang Theory or whatever,
Yeah.
and
As moms do.
as
My
moms
mom
do.
does, too.
and Matt's mom, and so I'm sitting there on the computer and up visiting them up north, and she's like, "Who were the Fantastic Four?" Because Stanley was wearing, like, on the episode, he shows up and he's wearing the Fantastic Four. But she's like, "Is that like Superman and Batman?" And I'm like, "Mom, you're so adorable.
Aw.
You're so
my
cute."
my mom did something similar. She called me up. She was listening on her drive into work. She was listening to talk radio, and they had like they had a superhero quiz. You could call in, and she was like, "I should have called in because I knew every answer was right. Bruce Wayne is Batman, right? I knew that."
I love when moms are like, they're like, "I knew it. See, are you
I
proud of
knew
me?"
it.
When moms want us to be proud of them for knowing things.
Yeah. It's cute.
That's adulting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys out there should listen to the Keeg with your moms.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a pretty mom-friendly show, as long as they don't mind.
This is a very mom-friendly episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't
clean
get
version, do not let them listen to clean
Okay.
version. My mom
Duly
listened to
noted.
clean version.
Oh,
That was
no.
a mistake.
No, Deanna, no.
Don't say my mom's name on here.
Just edit it.
I'm not going to edit it. Unless you really want me to, Hero.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay, cool. So thank you guys for listening to us. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Lisa, Bryan, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a great pleasure to have you on. We had you on that first season a couple years ago.
Yeah. In that hot apartment.
Oh, and now we're in a hot sound booth.
But you know what? I get to sit. No one gets to see me sweating.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
can just kind of rock back and forth. And
Where can we see you next? What do you do? What's up with you?
me, I have a Twitter account at @VarianLisa, and I'm also working on some writing projects. I have to keep them on the down low a little bit.
Keep it on the
But,
DL.
Yeah.
Eventually, it will come out.
Okay.
Legit
So-
paid writer.
Legit paid writer.
Oh,
legit
nice.
writing a book right now with a friend of ours who. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
But that's where I'll be.
All right. So when you are able to tell us the title of the book and
Yes,
it's out,
I
tell us
will.
the title of the book.
I absolutely will.
Awesome. Hero, where can we
Yes.
find you?
All
I ask
right.
you all the time, but I always forget.
You do. Well, you can always find me on Twitter at HeroIsMyNameo. That's my Twitter. It's mostly political stuff, but sometimes it's also stuff about my dick. If you are in the Orange County area and you enjoy my comedy stylings, you can catch me hosting a team called Laugh Chance at the Chance Theater. Our next show is July 7th. I know that's Spider-Man Day, but see the movie, then come see me perform comedy. It's great. Also, if you enjoy musical improv comedy, my other team, Fancy Hobo, will have a show on July 29th at Stage Door Repertory. Both of those shows, you can find tickets online. You can find us at Laugh Chance or at Fancy Hobo on Facebook or Twitter. That's it, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys again for listening to the show. I can't really express how much it means to us that you guys are listening. Once again, I am your host, Dimithri Perera, and thank you. This has been The Keeg.